Parents, let me ask you this. How well do you really know your child? What if, right now, they were hiding a secret that could shatter your entire world? Before you answer, watch this story and tell me your thoughts by the end. You might just change your entire approach to parenting. Please like and subscribe. Amanda woke up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, her tiny hands trembling as she clutched her blanket. Her voice pierced through the silence of the house. "Mummy! Mummy! The mermaid is here again! He wants to carry me! He's touching me, Mummy!" Her mother, Mrs. Lissa, groggily stirred from her sleep but remained in bed. She sighed deeply, muttering under her breath. It's just another one of her nightmares. Amanda needs to stop watching those fairy tale cartoons before bed. Mrs. Lisa turned to her husband, Ahmed, who was snoring heavily beside her. She nudged him slightly, but he simply grumbled, turned over, and continued sleeping. Frustrated, she yelled from her room, "Amanda, go back to sleep. It's nothing." But in Amanda's room, the fear was real. She cowered at the corner of her bed, her eyes glued to the window where the silhouette of a strange figure shimmered. It looked neither fully human nor entirely animal. The figure's hand extended toward her, and Amanda screamed louder. The next morning, as Amanda sat at the breakfast table, her eyes heavy with dark circles, she tried once again to get her mother's attention. "Mummy, I swear I saw him. He was by the window last night. He's always there, and I can't sleep." "Enough, Amanda," Mrs. Lisa snapped, slamming her coffee cup on the table. "This nonsense has to stop. You're too old for imaginary friends and these ridiculous stories." "But Mummy, it's not imaginary," Amanda cried, tears streaming down her cheeks. Ahmed, engrossed in his newspaper, barely looked up. "Amanda, your mother is right. Focus on your schoolwork. Stop wasting our time with this." Amanda looked at her parents in despair. She felt utterly alone. No one believed her. Not even her older brother Dio, who laughed at her during breakfast. "Maybe the mermaid will take you to his underwater palace, Amanda," he teased, chuckling. That night, Amanda's fears intensified. She avoided looking at the window and kept the light on, clutching her Bible tightly. But as the clock struck midnight, the lights flickered and went out. Amanda froze. A cold breeze swept through the room, and there it was again, the figure. It whispered her name, its voice eerily soft but commanding. "Amanda, Amanda, come with me." She screamed again, but this time no one came to her rescue. The house remained silent. The following morning, Amanda sat silently in the car as her father drove her to school. She stared out of the window, her fingers nervously fiddling with the strap of her backpack. The events of the previous night played on a loop in her mind. She felt a gnawing fear that no one else seemed to share or even understand. "Daddy?" She finally mustered the courage to speak, her voice barely above a whisper. Do you think there could be something like spirits or things that come to us at night?" Ahmed didn't even glance at her. His eyes remained focused on the road. "Amanda, you're letting your imagination run wild. Spirits? No such thing exists. You need to grow up." His words stung. She bit her lip to hold back the tears threatening to spill over. "But Daddy, what if—" "Enough," he snapped. "We've heard enough of this nonsense. Focus on your studies, Amanda. That's what matters." At school, Amanda struggled to concentrate. Her friends noticed her quiet demeanor, but whenever they asked if she was okay, she simply nodded and avoided the topic. During lunch, she overheard some classmates talking about supernatural stories. And for a moment, she felt tempted to share hers. But fear of being mocked kept her silent. The torment continued at home. Amanda dreaded bedtime. She tried everything to keep herself awake. Reading, playing games on her tablet, even scribbling in her diary. But exhaustion always won. And when she slept, the figure always returned. "Mummy!" Amanda screamed one night, bolting upright in her bed. This time, her mother stormed into the room, visibly angry. "What is wrong with you, Amanda?" Mrs. Lisa shouted. "Do you know what time it is? I have work in the morning, and you keep waking the entire house." "But Mummy, it's real," Amanda sobbed, clutching her mother's arm. "Please believe me, he's here every night. He says he wants to take me." "Enough of this madness," Lisa barked. "If you keep up with these lies, I'll take away your tablet and TV privileges." Defeated and heartbroken, Amanda sank back into her bed. Her cries softened to whimpers as her mother left the room. But she wasn't the only one affected. Dio, annoyed by the constant nighttime disturbances, teased her even more the next day. "You're embarrassing yourself," he said, rolling his eyes. "Maybe you're just crazy." That word, crazy, stayed with her. Amanda began to question her own sanity. Could she really be imagining all of it? But deep down, she knew what she saw was real. She felt it. She couldn't explain it, but it was there, lurking, watching, waiting. Days turned into weeks, and Amanda's behavior began to change. She became withdrawn, barely eating or speaking. Her once bright, curious eyes were now dull and filled with fear. Her teachers called home, concerned about her performance in class. But Ahmed and Lisa brushed it off as a phase. "She's just being dramatic," Lisa told the school counselor during a phone call. "She'll grow out of it." But Amanda knew she wouldn't. The figure wasn't going anywhere. The tension in the household reached a breaking point one cold Friday night. Amanda had barely spoken to anyone all day, and even her usually sharp-witted brother Dio noticed her uncharacteristic silence. At dinner, the air was heavy with unease as Amanda picked at her food, her gaze fixed on her plate. "Amanda," her father said sternly, "are you going to talk to us, or keep up this sulking? Enough is enough." "I'm fine," Amanda mumbled, avoiding eye contact. "Fine? You're not eating, you're not sleeping, and you look like a ghost of yourself," Ahmed retorted, slamming his hand on the table. "What's wrong with you?" Amanda's lips quivered, and for a moment, it looked like she might open up. But then she saw the dismissive look in her mother's eyes and Dio's smirk. She knew they wouldn't understand. "Nothing," she whispered, standing up abruptly. "May I be excused?" "Sit down," Ahmed barked. "You're not leaving until you tell us what's going on." The sudden outburst startled everyone, including Amanda. She stood frozen, tears streaming down her face. "You don't believe me, Daddy. None of you do. So what's the point?" Her words hung in the air like a thunderclap. Before Ahmed could respond, she ran to her room, slamming the door behind her. That night, the whispers returned, but this time, they were louder, more insistent. The figure by the window wasn't alone anymore. Amanda could make out several shadowy forms, all of them whispering her name. "Amanda, Amanda, come with us." Terrified, she screamed louder than she ever had before. Her cries echoed through the house, jolting everyone awake. Ahmed and Lisa rushed to her room, followed by Dio, who looked both annoyed and concerned. "What is it now, Amanda?" Lisa demanded, her patience wearing thin. They're here! They're all here! Amanda sobbed, pointing to the window. Ahmed pulled back the curtains, revealing nothing but the quiet, moonlit night outside. There's nothing there, he shouted. How many times do we have to tell you? But I saw them, Amanda insisted. I heard them. Please, you have to believe me. Enough, Lisa snapped, her voice shaking with frustration. You're acting like a spoiled child, Amanda. I'm done with this nonsense. She's not lying. The unexpected voice belonged to Dio, who had been silently observing from the doorway. Everyone turned to him, stunned. What did you just say? Ahmed asked, his tone incredulous. I said she's not lying, Dio repeated, his face pale. I saw something too, just now, outside the window. Lisa and Ahmed exchanged uneasy glances, their skepticism wavering for the first time. Dio, don't encourage her, Lisa said weakly. I'm not encouraging her, Dio snapped. I'm telling you the truth. There was something out there. I don't know what, but it wasn't normal. For the first time, Amanda felt a flicker of hope. Someone else had seen it. She wasn't crazy. But the relief was short-lived. The whispers grew louder, and Amanda clutched her head in agony. Make it stop, she cried. Please, make it stop. Panic set in as the family watched Amanda writhe on the floor, her screams turning into guttural cries. Lisa knelt beside her, shaking her daughter desperately. Amanda, stop this. Please. But Amanda was beyond reach. Her body convulsed as if an unseen force was taking over. The room grew cold, and a chilling wind swept through, extinguishing the lights. In the darkness, the whispers became a chorus of eerie voices, sending shivers down everyone's spine.